Welcome back to's Mint Mysteries. Today, get ready to hold on to your seats because we're diving into 6 old and rare Jefferson nickels that could be sitting in your change jar or tucked away in a drawer, and believe it or not, some of these tiny 5-cent pieces could be worth an eye-popping fortune. I'm talking values that can skyrocket into the hundreds of thousands, even pushing $500,000 or more. Most people overlook nickels, but tonight, you're going to see why collectors are scrambling to find these rare gems. The first coin on our list is the 1945 Jefferson nickel, and at first glance, it might just look like any other nickel you've seen. But here's the jaw-dropping truth: this isn't your everyday pocket change. This coin was minted during World War II, a time when the US Mint had to make some surprising changes. Because nickel was a critical metal for the war effort, the Mint removed nickel from the 5-cent coin between 1942 and 1945. That means this 1945 nickel is actually made of an unusual mixed 35% silver, along with copper and manganese. Yes, you heard that right. It's a nickel that's actually part silver. The mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. And if you take a close look, you'll notice something unique. The mint mark is larger and appears above Monticello's dome on the reverse side. This was the only time in US history that the mint mark was placed there, which already makes the coin stand out for collectors. Even in fine condition, like the one we're talking about right now, it has that worn yet charming appearance. That shows it's been through hands for decades, but still carries its history proudly. But here's where the wow factor hits. A 1945 nickel in well-circulated fine condition might fetch you anywhere from $2 to $15, which already surprises many people who think nickels aren't worth more than face value. But if you happen to find one in brilliant and circulated condition, bright, lustrous, and untouched by circulation, the value explodes into the hundreds. And that's not all. If your coin has certain striking errors, like a double die on the reverse, or even the highly sought-after over mintmark varieties, where the S is punched over another letter, the price tag skyrockets. We're talking thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, and the record sales? Prepare to be stunned. Pristine examples of the 1945s have been known to break the $20,000 barrier at auction when they're certified at the highest grades. That's right, $20,000 for a coin most people would walk past without a second thought. But here's the kicker: rare worn nickels like these, especially in near-perfect condition with unusual toning or errors, are projected to keep climbing in value. Some expert collectors believe special examples could one day push into the 6-figure range, maybe even over $450,000, if a truly one-of-a-kind piece surfaces. Imagine that a 5-cent coin worth almost $500,000. So, how can you spot if you've got a winner? First, look for that bold S mint mark above Monticello. Then, check the condition. Does it still show sharp details on Jefferson's face, his hair, and Monticello's steps? The better the detail, the higher the grade. Finally, do you think you might have an error or an unusually well-struck coin? It's worth getting it authenticated. This 1945 Jefferson nickel is a perfect reminder of how even the smallest, most ordinary-looking coins can hold staggering secrets. And remember, this is only the beginning, because the next coin we're about to cover could be hiding even bigger surprises. Next up, we have the 1943 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it may look like another old 5-cent piece, maybe a bit worn from decades of use. But what most people don't realize is that this coin is a direct product of World War II, and it hides a silver secret that makes it one of the most collectible nickels in US history. Like the 1945s, the 1943 was struck at the San Francisco Mint during the height of the war, when nickel metal was needed for tanks, ships, and weapons. To save resources, the Mint changed the recipe of the nickel from its usual copper-nickel blend to a unique alloy that included 35% silver, along with copper and manganese. So yes, the very coin we're talking about, a nickel, actually contains real silver. That alone already puts it in a special category, since silver coins have always drawn collectors like magnets. But let's talk about what makes the 1943S stand out even more. The S mint mark, again, appears above Monticello on the reverse, a design change that happened only during these wartime years. In fine condition, like the coin we're focusing on, you'll see plenty of wear. Jefferson's hair will look smooth. Monticello may be a bit flat, but the major details are still visible. This is the look of a coin that has traveled through history, likely exchanged for bread, gas rations, or even war bonds back in the 1940s. Now here's where the story takes a jaw-dropping turn. In ordinary circulated condition, the 1943S nickel might sell for $3 to $10. That's already a nice profit over face value. But if you stumble on one in brilliant uncirculated condition, sharp details with its original luster, the price climbs into the hundreds. Collectors absolutely love high-grade war nickels. And here's the real shocker. Rare varieties of the 1943S are so rare and so desired that they've sold for staggering amounts. We're talking doubled dies where the lettering or Monticello shows a ghostly duplicate image, or repunched mint marks where the S was struck twice. Some of these error coins have shattered expectations, reaching $15,000, $20,000, and even higher at major auctions. And here's the part that will blow your mind. Experts believe that a perfect condition 1943S, with strong strike, beautiful toning, and certified by one of the top grading companies, could someday command a price north of $300,000, or even $500,000, if it has that one-of-a-kind uniqueness. Imagine holding a simple nickel, worth only 5 cents at face value, but in the right condition, it could be worth more than a house. That's the wow factor that keeps collectors on the hunt. So, how do you know if you've got one? Look carefully for that S mint mark above Monticello's dome. Tilt the coin in the light. If it still has some shine, even better. And if the lettering or details look unusual or doubled, don't dismiss it. That could be your ticket to a fortune. The 1943S Jefferson nickel is more than just a coin. It's a piece of wartime history, a rare silver blend, and potentially a life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. And the truth is, the nickels we're about to look at only get more exciting from here. Now, let's move on to another treasure, the 1942S Jefferson nickel. At first glance, this coin in fine condition might not scream fortune. The details on Jefferson's hair are worn, the steps of Monticello are faint, and it carries the look of a coin that's seen plenty of years in circulation. But the truth hiding inside this nickel is nothing short of remarkable. The year 1942 was a turning point. Early that year, nickels were still being made of their regular copper-nickel blend. But as World War II intensified and nickel became vital for military use, the U.S. Mint made the historic decision to change the composition mid-year. From October onward, every nickel struck, including the 1942S from San Francisco, was made of the unusual 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese alloy. This means that depending on when it was minted, a 1942 nickel could either be the standard copper nickel or one of these special wartime silver nickels. The S mint mark above Monticello tells us this one is indeed the silver alloy variety, making it highly collectible. Now, even in fine condition, a 1942S silver nickel carries extra value compared to face value. Most pieces sell for about $2 to $8 in this condition. But collectors don't just chase the average ones, they dream about the rare survivors that remain in pristine mint state. That's where the numbers start to turn heads. In uncirculated condition, with sharp details and full luster, values can surge to $150, $500, even over $1,000 depending on grade. But the real shock factor comes with error coins. The 1942S is infamous for having striking anomalies, like doubled dies where Jefferson's profile or the words Monticello and 5 cents appear slightly doubled. Even rarer are repunched mint marks, where the S looks like it was stamped twice. These quirky mistakes, though they may seem small, can send values soaring into five figures. Some rare examples have crossed the auction block for over 20,000. And here's the part that makes collectors' jaws drop. Experts predict that a top-grade 1942S nickel, with flawless surfaces, vibrant toning, and one of those special errors, could one day shatter the market at $300,000 to $450,000 or more. Think about that, a 5-cent coin struck in the middle of the war, worth almost $500,000 in the right condition. It's enough to make you check every single nickel in your collection twice. So, how do you identify one of these treasures? Start with the mint mark. If you see a large S above Monticello, you know you've got a silver war nickel. Next, check the wear. In fine condition, the design is soft but visible, and that still gives a collector interest. But if by chance you come across one that shines with luster, or has strange doubling in the letters, get it checked. That coin could be far more than pocket change. It could be life-changing money. The 1942S Jefferson nickel is living proof of how a simple design tweak in wartime America turned an ordinary coin into a piece of history worth chasing. And, believe me, the next nickel on this list raises the stakes even higher. Now, here's where things get even more exciting, the 1942P Jefferson nickel. At first glance, especially in this dark, almost black-shaded fine condition, it might look like an old, worn coin that's seen better days. But what you're really holding is a key piece of history and one of the most important transitions in all of U.S. coinage. Why? Because the 1942P was the very first Jefferson nickel to carry the big mint mark above Monticello on the reverse. That bold P stands for the Philadelphia Mint. And here's the shocker, this was the very first time in U.S. history that the Philadelphia Mint ever used its own mint mark. Up until then, Philadelphia coins had no mark at all. So when you see that large P looming above Monticello's dome, you know you're looking at the beginning of something historic. Now, the 1942P is one of the famous worn nickels, just like the others from 1942 to 1945. Its composition was changed because nickel was needed for tanks, planes, and weapons. Instead, these nickels were struck in a strange mixture of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. That black shade you sometimes see like on this very coin comes from decades of toning and oxidation that happen naturally to silver. Over time, to collectors, that dark patina can be a sign of age, authenticity, and history. In fine condition, the 1942P might only bring $3 to $10. But that's just the surface story. When you get into higher grades, things heat up fast. An uncirculated 1942P can sell for $200, $500, even over $1,000 when the strike is sharp and the luster intact. But here comes the jaw-dropper. Certain varieties of the 1942P are among the most desirable Jefferson nickels ever made. The most famous is the 1942P double die reverse, where the words Monticello and 5 cents appear doubled and bold to the naked eye. That error alone can turn a 5-cent coin into a $10,000 treasure. Some pristine, top-graded examples of these error varieties have even hammered down at auction for prices north of $20,000, and the potential doesn't stop there. Experts suggest that if a perfect 1942P double die with vivid toning and flawless surfaces ever comes to market, it could push into the six-figure range, maybe even $400,000 to $500,000. Imagine a coin that most people overlook in their change being worth as much as a luxury home. That's the magic of the wartime Jefferson nickels. So, how do you know if you have one? Start by flipping the coin and looking right above Monticello. If you see that large P, you've got history in your hands. Then, tilt it under the light. If you see doubling on the letters or unusual spread in the design, you may be staring at a fortune. Even with that dark, black shade of toning, collectors love the authenticity, and it proves the coin's silver content has been reacting with the environment for more than 80 years. The 1942P black shade Jefferson nickel isn't just a coin. It's the first of its kind, a wartime experiment, and possibly a hidden jackpot waiting in an old box or coin jar. And as rare as this one is, The next coin on our list raises the bar even higher. Now, it's turn our attention to the 1943p Jefferson nickel. At first glance, in fine condition, this coin shows the typical signs of where Jefferson's cheek and jaw are smoothed out. Monticello has lost some of its crisp detail, and the surfaces are a bit dull. But what makes this coin jaw-dropping is not how it looks at first sight, but what it represents. This nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint in the middle of World War II, when America's factories were working around the clock to fuel the war effort. The government needed nickel metal for tanks and artillery, so the mint swapped the regular alloy for a mix of copper, manganese, and here's the shocker, 35% silver. That's right. This 1943p nickel is actually part silver, and, even more historic, it carries the giant P mint mark above Monticello, only the second year in U.S. history that Philadelphia coins ever had a mint mark. That bold P was a sign to the world that the coin was different, special, and tied directly to the fight for victory. Now, in fine condition like this, a 1943p may bring $2 to $6. Nothing earth-shattering there, but this is where the story takes a dramatic turn. In mint state condition, sharp and lustrous, the value jumps into the hundreds. Collectors love this issue because of its history and silver content. But when you bring errors into the mix, the price tags explode. The 1943p is famous for double dies, especially on the reverse, where the words Monticello and 5 cents sometimes show a dramatic doubling. That kind of error transforms a common coin into a 4 or even 5-figure prize. And the record sales? Hold on to your seat. High-grade 1943p nickels, certified at the very top levels, have sold for over $10,000, and that's without any major errors. With the right error, collectors have been willing to pay $20,000, $30,000, or more. And here's the jaw-dropper. Experts believe that a flawless, one-of-a-kind specimen, perhaps with brilliant rainbow toning or a dramatic double die, could one day hammer for $350,000 to $500,000. Imagine a single nickel worth more than a Ferrari. That's the kind of shock value hidden in this unassuming wartime piece. So, how do you know if you've got a winner? First, flip it over and look for that giant P mint mark over Monticello that tells you it's a Silver War nickel. Next, examine the lettering. If Monticello or 5 cents looks doubled, or if anything on the coin looks unusual, you could be holding a jackpot. And don't underestimate the coin, even if it's darkened or worn. Collectors know these 1943p nickels carry a silver heart and a wartime legacy that makes them timeless. The 1943p is more than just a nickel. It's a symbol of America's fight during World War II, a rare experiment in silver coinage, and a potential fortune hiding in plain sight. And believe me, the final coin we're about to reveal could be the most shocking of all. And now, we come to the last coin on this list, the 1944p Jefferson nickel. At first glance, in fine condition, this coin looks like a tired old nickel. Jefferson's portrait is worn smooth, the steps of Monticello are faint, and the surfaces have the dull gray look of a coin that's been passed through countless hands. But don't be fooled by its appearance. This is one of the most collectible nickels of all, and in the right condition, it could be worth a life-changing fortune. The 1944p was minted in Philadelphia during the height of World War II. Like the 1943, this coin carries that large P mint mark right above Monticello on the reverse. Remember, Philadelphia had never used a mint mark before the war, so this alone makes it historic. And once again, because nickel metal was too important for weapons and armor, the mint struck this coin with that unusual wartime alloy: 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. Yes, this is another nickel that's actually part silver. But here's where it gets exciting. The 1944p is one of the issues known for producing some of the strongest strikes and, at the same time, some of the most valuable errors in the entire series. In fine condition, the value is modest, about $2 to $7, just a small bump above face value. But once you climb into uncirculated grades, the story changes dramatically. A mint state 1944p can easily bring $300, $500, even over $1,000 if certified at high levels. But here's the real shocker: collectors have discovered rare double die errors on this coin, where the words Monticello and 5 cents appear doubled and bold. Others show repunched mint marks, where the P was struck twice, creating a ghostly shadow. These bizarre mistakes have sold for over $15,000 at auction, and here's where the wow factor goes into overdrive. The highest graded, perfect 1944p. Nickels flawless in every detail, with rainbow toning and no marks, have fetched astonishing prices of $25,000 to $40,000. But many experts believe the ceiling hasn't been hit yet. If the right combination of condition, error, and eye appeal ever surfaces, the 1944p could smash all expectations and hit the $500,000 mark. Just imagine a nickel, plain 5-cent coin, commanding $450,000 or more. That's the kind of discovery that turns an ordinary collector into a legend. So, how do you know if you might be holding one of these treasures? Start by looking for that bold P above Monticello's dome that tells you it's a Silver War nickel. Then check the lettering carefully for doubling or strange shadows on the mint mark. And finally, don't dismiss the coin even if it looks dark or worn. Every 1944p tells the story of wartime America, and collectors will pay dearly for examples that survive in top condition or with rare errors. The 1944p Jefferson nickel is the perfect reminder of why we never overlook old coins. What looks like a simple nickel can turn out to be a silver wartime rarity, and in the right hands, it can command staggering sums. And there you have it, 6 old and rare Jefferson nickels that could be hiding in plain sight, each one carrying history, mystery, and the possibility of a shocking payday. Which one of these surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget, if you enjoyed this hunt for hidden treasures, hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss the chance to discover if the change in your pocket might just be worth a fortune.